All right, happy Friday. I've got some peanut M&Ms in my mouth, so apologies for that. Hey, Neon Glitch. I got work to do. I feel like I've done all this setup work, but then it's probably what happens is I've set up and set up and set up and set up, but now I got to put the rubber to the road, if you will. I need to get out some dice. Sorry, I'm trying to do multiple things at once. All right, let me move some stuff out of the way. Crank open the dice. Okay, let's get these. All right. How's everybody doing? Everyone got had a good week and got some gaming going on this weekend, or got some gaming this week. My home game, which I'm playing in Daniel, aka Bandits Keeps game. We played last night. What did we do? Well, my paladin went up a level, so that was fun. My character's a female because I converted a hireling into a PC when my first character's campaign, which was another NPC converted to PC, was killed by was it Finger of Death? Uh, and Glitch says the orcs at Warcraft would say work. Yeah. My first character was killed by Finger of Death, and he could have come back. But then I started playing this other character, and just by hook or by crook, I don't got attached to her, but she basically outpaced the character I had before. So at the time when I was finally like, hey, you're in a position to get your old character back, I said, well, I can just work with what I've got. She's already, I think ended up was a level higher than he was, and I was like, I'll keep going. And then she became a paladin, and then she was at 6th level for a while because we were doing stuff and just not getting a whole lot of XP, doing a lot of stuff. And I've mentioned this before for my though maybe it's been a while depending on how many of the older streams where I was talking about the home game that I was running. This was an issue I ran into in which I started looking at changing how I was doing XP because I wanted to reward the party for what they were doing. I didn't want to just chase gold just to chase gold. And I wanted it to be, if that's your pursuit, then great. But I wanted to have other means for my gang. In Daniel's game, we are, you do get some XP for monsters. I think, he's pretty much following OD&D in that regard. But it's mostly gold. And we just hadn't gotten back to town or to, a safe place with a bunch of gold. So I'd been at 6th level for a while. And let me just take a drink of this. I have another one here to open. This Fuji apple from Spindrift. Quite good. Hey, Magnus. So she's been 6th level for a while. And 7th level, so we're basically using the Paladin rules. He's making some tweaks to it and changes, but essentially using the rules for the Paladin as was written in the Greyhawk supplement as kind of the basis and going from there. And 8th level is where things kind of kick up a notch. And I'm not sure how he's going to want to do it because on the face of it, there's some pretty powerful stuff. Where basically I can essentially dispel evil or kind of banish evil kind of at a word. I can just tell evil things just be gone, go away, and I can detect evil. It was 6 inches, which is not super far, but still. But that's next level. 7th level though, I did move to being depending on the type of combat, in sort of the normal mass kind of combat, equivalent to 7 men is nothing to sneer at. But on the fantastic table, moved up to superhero -1, which is another pretty good little leap, going from hero +1 to superhero -1, or at least I think it feels like a pretty good leap. I haven't looked at the table. Maybe it is just one column over, but feels good. Feels good. I need to roll up some more spots and places and kind of get some things going on. So I think that's where I'm going to start. Neon Glitch says, worked on their Hexcrawl West Marches game, going to use Shadow Dark. I have a Pathfinder 2nd Edition game tonight that they're a player in, and I'm running a Pathfinder 2nd Edition game tomorrow. Wow, well, you got a lot of stuff going on. My block is having a block party tomorrow, so that will be Fun for my. It's fun. I was gonna say fun for my daughter, boring for me. No, it's fun. I don't know if it'll be on all day. I don't think we'll take part in it all day. Block parties, not unique to New York City, but I guess unique to cities. I don't know in the burbs do they do block parties? I don't know, but it's fun. They shut the street off, and we have some kind of cool folks on our block. One guy, I think he owns some kind of. He does ice cream, and so last year he had just basically had a cart, and he was just serving ice cream all day. And there's someone who does taiko drums, so they did taiko drumming on the block. That was cool too. That was cool too. All right, so I need to make. Oh, I hate where Word tries to if I think one thing I dislike about some of these interfaces. I was about to go off on a tangent. Well, I'm going to go off on a little tangent. And Word is this thing where it thinks it knows what you want to do and it's trying to help you, but sometimes it's just irritating. So it took my numbers, which it doesn't know obviously that I'm trying to designate hexes, and tries to turn it into something else. I'm not even sure what. But I didn't catch it last time. I was wondering why some of my numbers had dropped, gone kind of weird. And it was because Word, in its infinite wisdom, was trying to help me do something that I did not ask for it to do. I didn't ask for that. So I need to fill in some spots. Or I want to. I need to and I want to. So this is the Were-Rat lair. The lair itself is going to be a secret. And I could roll to see where it is, or what it is. I need to figure out what is, just style-wise, what's style man right there. This is, and see, this I don't like either, because, Word, it doesn't make it super clear what heading I'm using, is it? I think that's heading. No, we're using heading 3. Okay, so that's heading 3, which means that this one needs to be, and I think there is a way I can open up the pane, but I just can't remember. So let's just determine where this Were-Rat secret is. Let's start here. So one of the things we could do is before when I was doing this point of interest generator, and just to get it in 2 panes, I think Word will scream at me if I try to open in 2 different windows, is I actually just outputted a PDF real quick, so I can just throw it in another window. Since I know that this is a secret, I'm not going to bother, kind of rolling through. I also know it's going to be chaotic. And it's a lair, but I want to know where it is, so I can still roll for that locale. And this is it's in the green slopes. So what did I get? I got a 4. So in the green slopes, it's split by a bubbling stream. Glitch says they grew up in the country, so we've never had block parties. You live in a city now and have thought about hosting a block party for the kids. Throw a giant screen and projector. Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool stuff. You get your neighbors involved. Our building has a committee. So I'm in, I guess we'd call it a mid-rise building. Though in our neighborhood, it's actually one of the taller buildings, or just in my little part of the neighborhood. So we're seven stories. And there's a committee that's working with folks in the building who want to help out, and then other folks on the block. Most of the block are walk-ups, so they're basically, well, there's one kind of not a tiny home, but just it's interesting. It's just a single little home that's stuck in. The rest are kind of more in they're not brownstones, but they're kind of that style, that kind of walk up, and there's maybe 2 or 3 floors. Most of them, I think, 2, or is it 3? Yeah, most of them 2. I'm looking out the window. And like I said, a lot of our neighbors, especially the ones that are living in those walk-ups, some of them are single-family homes and some of them are split. And I don't really have a good sense of them, but they're the ones that are single-family in particular, even some of the ones that may be split. They're not cheap to live in. So you get some interesting folks who are here. So that, they have businesses and whatnot, so they kind of help out. It was a fun time last year. I definitely encourage it. It's a good way to kind of interface with your neighbors if you don't get to. The nice thing about my neighborhood, my daughter goes to basically the neighborhood school. A lot of her friends are from the neighborhood, or really all her friends are from the neighborhood. And so she's been with them since she was in daycare, basically. And so with these block parties and interacting with people at school and different, you just kind of get, even if you don't know everybody's name and know them, you kind of, it's that kind of thing where you sort of know everybody in your hood, or a lot of the people in your neighborhood, which is kind of a nice feeling. I think block parties help facilitate that sense of community. So I definitely recommend it. But you know, having had nothing to do with the actual organization, I have no idea what that would take. So, in a cave by, yeah, so a stream burbles out of a crack in the mountainside. I don't want to do this. No, burbles down the face of the mountainside. Face of the mountain. Beside it, a cave. Cave mouth that leads to the subterranean. Thank you. Where? I'll have to fix that up, but there we go. So I got that. But I need more. So what's the, so we got that, sorry. I need a landmark. So I'm going to roll again. What did I get there? A 3. Which gives me an open glade. Let's put that in for right now. Neon Glitch wants to thank me for all the videos and streams. Been very helpful seeing how the rubber meets the road in their journey to take on the solid game. Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad. Always glad to help. You know, I always feel. I guess I'm glad. I think I get that feedback probably a fair amount, which I think is good because there are lots of videos on that are very better organized than I am, slicker than mine, are better organized than mine. The guy, the person's probably better organized than I am on that level too, but better organized, more pithy, more to the point. I'm trying to get back on, as you may have noticed, into kind of doing some just more or less focused short videos on just, hey, let me talk about a thing. But oftentimes what those videos don't really do is work through the process or kind of show you, well, how do you actually get from this pithy thing or from nothing to this pithy, very, you know, polished thing that you have, or showing how some of these different elements work together. And I feel like that is something that maybe if I want to say what I feel like my videos offer, I don't want to say it's I'm not gonna say I'm the only person that does this or anything like that, but I feel like, you know, I'm kind of proud of the work I've put into kind of trying to show that. I mean, ultimately it's just a bunch of elbow grease and doing it, but I totally get how it can be intimidating to look at from the outside, and also if you can get that blank page, what they call blank page syndrome, I think, yeah, where you just kind of look at the blank page and you're like, I don't know where to begin. Or, you know, you look at a big empty hex grid and you're like, geez, I got to fill this up and do all this stuff, you know. So I appreciate it, Neon Glitch, and I'm glad they've been useful, and I'm happy to do them and continue doing them. Okay, I'm opening up another Fuji Apple Spindrift there in the background. So I need okay, so I have an open glade. This is the landmark. And I need, yeah, what's in it? I got a 4, so we got wildlife, which I'll look up in a second. And, oh yeah, that's it. Oh no, and then, right, well, let's see what kind of wildlife here. 2, it's flora, so it's just some, not just, but plant life. This would be a clustered wildflowers. Right, yeah, that's flora. And, oh, I didn't check. So hold on, let me put a little note here. What's your alignment? What's my alignment? 1 is chaos. Oh boy. Well, that's interesting. Now, what's the effect? Oh, so since actually this will be good. I posted this to Patreon and channel members the other day because I just written them all up. But now I'm actually going to potentially get to use one. Well, let's see first. Let's see, 2. Oh, so I get a curse. So I came up with these things. If you recall, hey, Ian, if you recall, not you, Ian, but in general, the other day, might have been the last video, might have been, or last stream, might have been the stream before. I think it was the last stream, which would have been whatever. It's not going to be, not going to be. I always forget sometimes that besides folks watching this live, right? People watch this at any time, and then if I say Wednesday, it doesn't mean much. But I think if you're in order, it would have been, I think, the last stream, which was chronologically Wednesday. We were looking at these alignment features and I thought, oh yeah, blessed or cursed. And I thought, I should probably write up what these blessings and curses mean. So I wrote up some. I like them. I don't know if they're too much yet, if they're too nasty or too good. I'll read them to you. You can let me know what you think. So I'll read the blessings first. So if you end up in a lawful location within a hex, and it is blessed, you'll roll a d6, and you might get, and it'll have one of these effects. Now, if you get into a blessed location, you have to rest there. You can't just walk in. So basically the thing is, if you walk into a cursed location, the curse, whatever the curse that's going to happen to you, it hits you right away. Or whatever that thing, whatever the curse effect is, it hits you right away. However, if it is a blessed hex, you actually have to stay there, I think, rest, like 2 expedition turns, I think. So 6, which would be 6 hours. So basically, you got to kind of take a rester there. So here are the blessings I have. So the first one is a palliative. Characters heal 1d6 plus 2 hit points or are cured of disease, including wasting disease. The wasting disease is an important one because that's one of the curses will inflict you with wasting disease. The next one is invigorating. Lawful characters gain a +1 to hit, damage, and save until the next night. And some of these, I think there are a couple one that just affect lawful creatures as opposed to anybody. Protective. Evil creatures cannot enter or be summoned here. It's essentially it's pretty much a stronger version of your protection from evil spell if you're using something like BX. And I know that it's kind of funny to say evil, but what is evil? You could put chaos. I could have put chaos in there, but I don't want. I'm keeping the evil here because, one, there is a precedent with the spell. I know it's a little bit unclear, but I figure it out. But the other thing is I don't want characters who are chaotic not to be able to enter the place, though that might be an interesting thing if they couldn't. So, I could see switching that back to make it easier. But right now I just have evil in there. Next one is safe. No hostile wandering creatures will appear here. So this means you find one of these places that's safe. If you need to rest, if you need to hide out, you can. Not to say that things that aren't wandering, like if someone's chasing you, they can still find you there, but if you're afraid that something nasty is going to try to, you're afraid for a wandering encounter, like maybe you need to rest up for days, right? You've got the supplies, but you really need to rest. Maybe people are really low on hit points. You're out in the middle of nowhere. You need days to recover. If you go to this place that has that safe blessing, you're going to be there and nothing's going to bother you. Like I said, other than things who are tracking, coming to you, whatever, you can't get any hostile wandering creatures. Bountiful means you can pick up 1d6 supply, either food, water, fuel, and I would let the person decide. Per character can be gathered once per day by spending a turn, expedition turn gathering. So it's got lots of stuff. You pick up whatever you need. And then finally, the last one is divine. Once per month, a lawful character can ask a single yes or no question of a lawful divine power before sleeping. And then when they awake, they'll know the answer. So you get kind of one of those, I forget which spell basically I stole it from. But basically you could ask a yes or no question and get an answer. Hey, Chris. So sorry. Neon Glitch had said, just responding to my response was the earlier comments. The difference between being told how to do something and seeing someone do it, as great as those other videos can be, and it's very helpful seeing someone go through the steps. Yeah, that's always been my thought. Go through the steps. So yeah, I agree. So those are the blessings. They're not the most amazing things, but I think the blessings all have some kind of what I feel like is a pretty good utility. If you're being chased by somebody evil and you can get to a protected, blessed spot, they can't come in. Might be very useful. Obviously, I already covered kind of safe. Bountiful, if you're low on supply, you get to one of these spots, you can really, everybody who's lawful could basically pick up a bunch of stuff. So even if you have some people who aren't, I didn't even do that one, it's not lawful. Everybody can just pick up a bunch of stuff. So you can really, get over. And of course, if you find out if you're low on hit points, you can get to a palliative spot that will cure you. And then if you need some guidance, a divine spot can help you. But now we got to go to the other side of the coin, which is on the cursed spots, which are, I think, nastier. I might need to amp up or do something the blessed spots, because the cursed spots are nasty, number one, and they happen right away. So there's some of them there's a delay, but literally it starts. You like the curse kind of is happening as you step in. It's not only happens after you've been there. These aren't even shrines, Chris. They're not to say there could not be a shrine. These are actually just like metaphysical aspects of a location. It could be a shrine, but it could also just be a bush or a glade. It could be just a natural force of the natural energy. Natural magical energy does not have to be a shrine. It could be anything, but it could be. And it would make sense for someone to build a shrine on those places. In fact, you could look at it this way and say, some of the shrines that might have these effects it's not the shrine that had the effect. The shrine was built to basically put a pin in a location that had this effect already. Like, the shrine of the that has the nurses that cure you. It's not the shrine that made the place have curative powers. It's the place that had the curative powers, and then they built the shrine over it, kind of thing. Which I think it definitely has. That's definitely happened before in history. Like, if I remember correctly, where the Oracle of Delphi used to be was built over this vent, and then the fumes from the vent would cause, or was it gas or something, would cause hallucinations or cause loopy visions. So they built that shrine there and then would channel that into having, loopy visions, right? It wasn't the shrine was built on the spot to take advantage of the natural thing. So if you were to build a shrine there, it'd be taking advantage of something that's occurring there naturally, in a sense. God, I don't know why I'm so thirsty, but I am. Okay. But now onto the curse side. So this is the opposite side of the coin. These are not nice. And like I said, they'll kind of happen right away unless I put a delay in there for some reason. Okay. First one is infested. Swarms of insects attack, obscuring the area, driving away and panicking any creatures with less than 3 hit dice. Other creatures must save versus spells to avoid a similar fate. So that would basically, I think it's basically the insect swarm spell. Except it's a little bit worse, because I think the insect swarm spell, if you have equal to or more than 3 hit dice, you're just not affected. In this case, it's a save or you're affected. I'm not putting it here because I don't want to get into kind of legalese writing, but presumably you'd scatter in random directions. So it would be like, we got to track everybody down now. They've gone running for some amount of time. I'm leaving that, that's the purview of where the referee running the game can make that decision. I'm not going to nail all that down for them. They can interpret that however they want. The next one is malevolent. Characters must save versus spells or be gayest as the spell to bring 3d6 hit dice of living creatures to the place and sacrifice them in a profane ritual. They must complete this task in 1 month or die. Now there is I think an ungayest spell or some way to undo a gayest spell, and you could probably figure out some other things. I could add that. I kind of like the idea of there being some of these matching up, so I might have something to undo this. But in any case, you're or not gayest, you're geshed. I think I was told it's gesh, not guess. So sorry. You're geshed as the spell, right, to bring back a whole bunch of people and sacrifice them. So not a fun one. I was thinking about that. That could actually be a really fun, just the tension of you gotta follow this out. You can't not. And remember, the old school gesh spell is definitely more severe than the one you see in something like 5e, where I haven't read it in a while, but I felt like the 5e one was pretty weak in terms of the penalty if you don't follow the quest or the gesh or whatever. It was okay. It was inconvenient, but it wasn't. I feel like this one's harder. And of course, you have a month to do it or you die. So if you decide not to do it and say, we're not going to do it, and we can live with whatever the penalty is, you still have 28 days or 30 days, whatever you decide your month is. And if they don't do it, they die. So they better figure it out in 28 days, or they better have a backup plan of bringing. And I like having his 3d6 hit points. It could be one big creature, or it could be multiple, commoner, normal types. It doesn't matter. But you got to bring those up here, and then they have to go through the ritual. Don't just bring them up here. You're gonna have to do the killing. So it feels like there's a lot of good. You could have a lot of good fun role playing. In fact, that might even make a really great kind of one shot or something. As if you had that, and it's like you have 28 days to either get out of this spell or do the thing that you don't want to do. And you could even, in kind of a one shot, you could have it be specific to really pull on it. It's like you got to bring your family, or you got to bring, your your uncle. You get to, it's like that moment in The Usual Suspects where Kaiser Soze's attorney, what's his name? I forget the guy's name now, who basically hands the dossiers over and tells them all the different members of their family or friends or loved ones that they basically are going to die if they don't do the thing. And here it could be like, you're going to have to take them, you're going to have to get your uncle, and you're going to have to go get your niece, and you're going to have to get your father and do this, or you're going to have to figure out a way to undo it. The next one is Vengeful. So this one, it does trigger late, but they don't have to stay there overnight. It's just the night after they leave. So the night after the characters leave, an invisible stalker is summoned and tasked to find and kill each one of them. So so basically you stay there. It's going to seem fine, but then the next night, then it starts this chase where some invisible stalker is going to be presumably slowly gaining ground on you, since they don't have to rest or sleep. Doing that, they just keep coming, and you can. Right, again, I'm going to leave this in the hands of the referee. However you want to adjudicate how close or far the invisible tracker is getting to you, but they're coming. Now, if you end up in a protective area, the invisible tracker can't get in. And then you can decide whether it just waits on the outskirts for you to leave, or, how you do that. So that's kind of a fun one. There's a fun little relationship between those two. The next one is Lunatic. Characters must save resist spells or be cursed with lycanthropy. I might figure out what that means here, because we have the were-rats, we have the were-boars, though those are kind of special in their own way, but I was thinking to tie it in with one of those, so I might do that, but, you get, and I have to figure out, I don't know which, I'd also have to look at what version of lycanthropy to kind of hit them with. Neon Glitch says, almost sounds like the death snail, and always tracking you and trying to kill you. Pretty much. But you won't know it either. The kind of the weird fun thing is you're going to go to that spot, and maybe I would have something happen. It'd be nice to have some sort of environmental effect or something, but you're not really going to know. You don't even have to stay there overnight. It's just you walk through the area, stay there, look around, and leave, and suddenly this evil thing is coming and sitting after you. It almost might be more fun if it isn't invisible, now that I'm thinking about it, because I like the idea of it being that you can see it, that it's got that almost the Terminator-like aspect of it's coming, and as opposed to the invisible one, which might feel, depending on level, of course, and all that stuff, it might feel really arbitrary. Like something slices into you and kills you, you're dead, as opposed to a Terminator. So now I'm thinking that I might find something else that fits the bill instead of an invisible stalker, but we'll see. Or I could just make it visible. Man, I'm drinking a lot of soda. Okay. Next one's Pestilent. Characters must save versus spells are restricted with a wasting disease. I mentioned before, this palliative blessing will cure the wasting disease. Well, here is where you get it. And this, I think, I took from basically cause disease. It's pretty much right out of that spell. Victims suffer -2 to all hit damage and saving throw rolls. Their wounds cannot be magically cured and heal half as quickly as normal. The disease is fatal in 46 days. So you don't want to have the cure. You don't want to have the wasting disease. It's not immediately fatal, it doesn't kill you right away, but it's going to kill you in, about a month if you're lucky. But of course, you're still penalized all the way through. But if you can find a place that's blessed with the palliative blessing, then if no one else can cure you, maybe that could. And then finally, the last one is Noxious. Poisonous fumes fill the air. Characters must save versus spells or suffer 1d6 damage. All supplies carried are ruined, spoiled, rotted, or otherwise made useless. Thinner, Chris says. Yeah, kind of. So there you go. So that one's probably the least. And the Noxious one is just that, well, now you have no supplies. You suffer some damage. If you got a couple levels in you, it's not going to be horrible. And of course, if you roll a 1, it's fine, but all your supplies are your water, and that would include fuel, right? So everything is spoiled, rotted, no longer useful. So now you're going to have to resupply, and that might not be a small matter, depending on how many people in your party and what's going on. That might be not a small deal, right? It's not going to kill you right away, but it might force you to make decisions that you don't want to make, either to run back to town if the town or if there's a town or a place nearby, or now you're going to have to start spending time searching, and doing the kind of hunting, gathering, whatnot. That just it just time ticks, and who knows what else is going on the clock. So you may have time, you may not feel you have time. So those are the curses. So now I need to see which curse is in this chaotic wildflowers. The fumes one, kind of like, because I think fumes from the flowers maybe, but let's see what I get. I might have to override it with the fumes. Oh my gosh, look at that. The dice saw what I wanted and gave it to me. Yep, I got the noxious fumes. So we'll call this the glade of the foul flowers. I'll capitalize it. Foul flowers. Whoops. Glade of the foul flowers, which would be, what do I call this? The landmark, right? Let's see. Let me give it. Knee-high stalks topped with deep purple flowers fill the open ground. They bloom all year round. But their perfume are poisonous. Ian says their girlfriend says they get noxious fumes too. Ha ha. Yes. All right. So knee-high stalks topped with deep purple flowers fill the open ground. They bloom all year round, but their perfumes are poisonous. Anyone entering the glade must save against spells or suffer 1d6 damage. Additionally, all carried supplies are ruined and made useless. Chaotic landmark. Okay, so I have to make a note. So there you go. And this actually, and in some ways it makes sense. If you put your lair, this area, we know now, this glade of the foul flowers, which is the thing that's most well known in this particular hex, because that's the landmark. The landmark's the thing that the kind of locals, people know of. It's the thing that most folks are going to see, and it's that, which is some nasty flowers that kind of melt all your supplies and sicken you. And remember, if you're just a normal person, right, that 1d6 damage is up to really hurt or kill you. Right? You have as much, that's basically save or die, basically, or I guess, well, save and you have a little bit better chance because your odds are that you have a 50-50 chance of living if you make your save. So, maybe a little bit better than 50%, but still, it's not good. And if you're somebody that's trying to hide out and avoid people coming to get you, or just avoid detection, well, that actually is a pretty good spot to be near because people are going to avoid the heck out of that. Chris asks what supplement I'm using to generate this content. Chris, I thank you for asking. That is no supplement, sir. That is my own work. In fact, this document here is in the appendix to the document I'm editing. As I roll up, you'll see I'm editing this spot. So when this is finished, if you'd like to, I don't know how much I'll put it up up for, but however much it is, you will get all this will be yours. So you'll be able to use it to create your own hexes. So this is just the appendix of this document. I just printed it out as a PDF so I could look at them side by side. And Word wouldn't throw up some kind of alarm because I'm opening the same document in two windows. These now versions of the Office are really finicky. I don't know if you use Office. They'll do things like, oh, you have it open, but you want to send it to somebody or do something. It'll give you something like, no, you can't attach it. It's open by Word. It's like, it's like, okay, I guess I got to close it to attach it. It's a little bit annoying, actually. I mean, I'm sure there's good reasons for the safety part. Probably want to make sure you save it, whatever. But the upshot for me is that it kind of is annoying. More annoying than anything else. All right, knee-high stalks topped with deep purple flowers fill the open ground. They bloom all year round, but their perfumes are poisonous. Anyone entering the grade must save versus spells or suffer 1d6 damage. Additionally, all carried supplies are ruined and made useless. I'm going to put a feature in here too, because why not? And then what I'm going to do, the reason why I want to put a feature in here, because I'm hoping at some point one might want to, well, we'll see. I'll explain it because I'm going through. The idea is that some kind of trail could be made of flowers to this, to that. Like you search, you find that, then you may find that and do that. But we'll see if they make sense going together. So let me scroll up here a little bit. Let's go to a feature. So the feature is, what do I get? A dense thicket. I like that. I'm already making sense. And then what is the contents? Another 6. It's a lair. A lair of what? Well, let's see. Do I want to keep a lair? Do I have a lair thing? I guess no, let's see. What do I get on the lair? Oh, I'm going the wrong way. Creatures. Let's see what creatures I get. This would be in the western green slopes. Five. I don't think great antelopes are lairing in the thickets. All right, let's ignore that. You are no good to me. What am I going to do? I'm going to say, so it's, I'm going to say obstruction. Let's put an obstruction in there. I'm going to roll 2d6. I got a 2 and a 1. So I got a rough ditch. Chris says, love supplements, have a slew of them. D30 sandbox generate, dungeon dress, etc. Can never have enough. Great for creating ideas. Absolutely. I mean, I do have some supplements, Chris. They're more, they're not like a bunch of tables, really. They're more mechanical at this point. But if you go to my itch page, you can see. So I have one that I'm using. The one that you will see here. Let me write this down first. So I think I'm going to do that. Dense thicket with a, what do I call it? A rough ditch. Just going to write that. So basically, you see these numbers here? This is from a supplement of mine called Do Anything D6 Wilderness, which has this kind of idea of creating stat blocks for wilderness areas. So if you're interested in that, you can check out my itch page. Check that out. There's the free version. It's the only version right now is a free one that's plain text. I did just, what did I do just today? Do I still have it up? Hold on. I did. No, that's from, no, these are all, hold on. Where is it? No, hold on a minute. Where did I have it? Did I open it up here? Wait. No, hold on a minute. Let me. Oh yeah, it's right here. So I'll open up the example. So basically, I added this today, actually. So this is the example version that shows you it filled, but it's essentially it's kind of a hex worksheet. So you can fill in the name, location, if it's part of a domain, there could be your symbology. There are the numbers you would add in. You can put in resources if there are any effects, whoops, if you want to put in some, so I just filled in here, you know, sights, sounds, smells, and atmosphere. And then if you have encounters, you can kind of fill in. This uses a 2d6. You can use a 1d6, but if you want to have kind of common, uncommon, rare, which I do here, you can really use 2d6. One will tell you the commonness of the encounter, the other one will get it. So you might get, you know, again, I just filled this up randomly with Mirkwood. You know, so an eerie silence, an inquisitive crow, strange tracks, or a massive web. Uncommon, you know, giant spiders, one of Sauron's spies, one of Radagast's allies, a withered cocoon, maybe some orcs, maybe some wood elves. And then rarely, you know, a lot of orcs, a lot of wood elves, Nazgul, Gandalf, Radagast, or, and I just put for fun, Smaug. And then this kind of concept down here of if you're searching the hex, what kind of stuff you might find, you know, searching spider webs, which can lead to giant spider's nest, which can lead to potentially, and these could be in other hexes or in the same hex. Or the, you know, you might find the magic stream, which can kind of lead to the game trail, which can, you know, lead to different places, yada, yada, yada. So this I just added into it. This one I did, so if you throw in $2, 2 bits, you get that along with the text supplement, which is right now in plain text, which is this. That basically goes over how to use my D6 dice pool mechanic for running wilderness stuff with a bunch of stuff on how to do those attributes, those stat attributes I talk about, and some other stuff. And I'm going to be continually kind of adding on to these things and doing more with them. So Neon Glitch, yes. The blank version, yes. So if you I just closed my thing. Hold on a minute. I'll do it over here. If you it's attached to, hold on, maybe it might be easier. Let's see. Hold on a minute. There we go, right here. Actually, I got it open. So if we come down here, I've got it here. So this hex template, right? You get it. You get one that's blank, and then one with the example in it. So you get both. And of course, you get the thing. But the wilderness, the actual hex doc itself, it's name your own price. Lord of the Rings, roll 12, roll again, Morgoth. Yeah, that would be rough. Yeah, so it's name your own price, but if you choose to spend more than $2, you get the 2 things. And I will be putting together a typeset version, which will also be unlocked with $2. So something I like with itch, and it doesn't work this way with drive-through. So I have the plain text versions on drive-through, and I will put up the other one. I have to do them as separate projects on drive-through. What I like about itch is you can have one project, and you can be name your own price, and then if people spend, you can have different things. So the plain text one, I want anybody to be able to read it. But I have to, you know, I got to put in more work and stuff to put in the typeset one. So I feel like, yeah, I'll charge a couple bucks for it. And, you know, I have these extra things. So I'll say, if you want that, pay more, but the basic thing is free. So you can kind of determine if you want to hit those thresholds, you can do that. Unfortunately, drive-through doesn't have that. So if you wait a bit, this hex template will show up with the typeset version on drive-through. And that is my ad for the stream, which I wasn't expecting. I can blame Chris. I didn't mean to self-promote. I was forced into it. Chris twisted my arm. Okay. Back to it. So we've got, where was I? Oh yeah. So we got this dense thicket with a rough ditch. So maybe the thicket is in the ditch. Or is the ditch, why would there, well, I don't know. We'll just say there's a rough ditch. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll call it an ancient ditch. Ancient ditch cuts across the wooded slope. now filled with a dense thicket of thorny brush. So here's what I'm going to add in. Close inspection will reveal a track leading across, I guess, leading through the thicket and across the ditch. If followed, it leads to the where at layer. Okay. So we have the landmark, ancient ditch. I don't know why. You could decide. Everyone could decide for themselves why this ditch is there. Maybe it was the remnants of some kind of old irrigation thing. Who knows? But it's there. It's been filled with dense, thick, of thorny brush. But if you kind of inspect it, there's kind of a track that leads through it. And across the ditch. And if you follow it, will lead to the lair. And I could put a note in here about, well, I don't know if the prints would be, I guess I'll have to decide. That's something I'll have to decide how the were-rats, if they're mostly, how radish they are versus human in terms of if they're prints or things like that. I'll have to decide that later. But now we got, so that's good. So that's pretty much, now I can run that, I can, not sure what these errands are doing down here, but I can, the next thing would be just I'll create a little map for that instead of, but that's the, I don't know, maybe I should call this something else. I'll just keep it like that. That's the main thing here. So there's that. All right, now we can go. So this one's going to be interesting because the only thing I had of note in here was this trail. So just to remind ourselves, we have two warring spiderkin factions over here. This is the hex that's in the middle of them. This trail leads between the two. So it's like bah 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 bah. And you can find that. So I don't think it's a secret. I'll call it a feature. Call that a feature, but I'll probably have some more stuff. Chris says they have these things in Maine where piles of dead branches would fill a low area, and if you try to walk over, you can easily fall and break a leg. Call these deadfall. Oh yeah, I know deadfall. I mean, I don't know them. I've heard of them. Yeah, that's a good thing too. That's definitely a good natural trap or hazard. Actually, I hadn't thought about that. I might need to try to stick something like that somewhere. That's definitely, I would definitely be open to, your GM sensibilities. If you saw that ditch and thicket, you could totally replace that with a deadfall. I kind of like the thicket though, because to me, I could see how the lair, that location, it's another thing that just makes it good because it's almost got this natural little defense. I mean, the deadfall would be too, but this one actually, it's the same, right? I guess it's the same. It's like thorns versus the deadfall. Either one would work actually. Let's see. Okay, so I need a landmark. Okay, this is just, the spider trail is just neutral. It is, the only thing about spider trail is there's a pretty good chance you might encounter spiders on the trail. What else we got? So we need a landmark. So we're still in the western green slopes. There's a crevasse. All right, and it is, it's a lawful crevasse. And what does it have in the crevasse? It's got wildlife. And what kind of wildlife is it? Flora. All right, I'm okay with that. And what is the flora? Wildflowers. Another wildflowers. Almost it's kind of interesting. So we get wildflowers, but this one they're lawful. And now we need, let's see if it has an alignment feature. 5 is it's safe. Oh, cool. That's actually pretty handy. I think I didn't write these down, but I thought that safe would be it's another place. It's not safe. The blessing safe, no, nothing will come. I think this safe will cut down on the chances of wandering encounters. So it makes it a better spot to. And I think it might also improve, just kind of improve your camping situation. Okay, so all right, let's write this up. A deep cut bisects a deep cut, the bottom of which is filled with soft soil and a field of multicolored wildflowers. I'll just say wildflowers with a field of sweet scented wildflowers. Camping in this location is safe. I'll figure. I'll have to read a little bit more into what safe means, but the idea is, which again, I like it because I gotta stop saying it again. I like it because these are things that you can, and I'll have to put something in because I think there are two things I want. What I want. One is that you stumble across these things, and you can figure out kind of what they do. Obviously, the bad ones you're going to want to avoid. The good ones you're going to want to mark down your maps and keep. You could also potentially, these are things that people could tell you about. Oh, go there. If you could find that spot, then, and this would be an obvious spot. Like that's a safe place to. It's a good camping spot. Believe you me, that's a good spot, kind of thing. And so it becomes a kind of a place that you may want to find. Oh, hey, we're near to the, and I maybe even give it a better name. Give it a name. Maybe someone would call that. We had what do we call the other place? Was the Glade of the Foul Flowers. Maybe this is something else. But oh, hey, go there, do that. So I like these spots, and I also that's kind of another reason why I like having some way that the blessings and cursings and these things sort of have an opposite. So that if you get cursed, yeah, it sucks. But you might be able to find now you have an imperative to find a blessed spot. And as you kind of figure things out, maybe you can ask people, hey, is there somewhere that does that? Maybe you'll find like, oh yeah, if we're ever hurt, we go to this spot and it clears it right up. So maybe you need to try it. And then you can hopefully convince somebody or hire them to lead you there. That's the hope anyway. And I'll leave that alone. It's just a trail. Wide trail runs southwest to northeast. The tracks are strange, being that they are giant What do they even call? What are spiders? You know, I know spider legs, but what are the pincers? What's at the end of spider legs? What kind of? I almost would imagine they would leave almost little divot. I mean, neither's a giant, right? Would they leave divots? What is the end of a spider? I don't want to go look it up on Wikipedia and see some close up of a spider leg, but what is the made by the is a three. Well, I'll make it. Actually, I want to make a table for that. So that's the feature, and then we need a secret spot. Okay. They have tiny hairs, don't they? Says the English. Yeah, but as like, what is this foot? I guess my question is, I guess put it was, what is the foot of a spider? Does a spider have some kind of foot? Is it just that it's just, I don't know, you know, do they, is it just that they, whatever their things, they just, like, what does it look like? Do I need to look up spider foot? I really don't want to. Though now I'm kind of thinking, do I not want to? Do I want to? Do I? Oh, let's see. Let's I got too many windows and things. Let's get that down. What does a spider's foot look like? All right. It's like a stump. I guess they got different things, huh? Maybe it depends on the spider. These are kind of gross. Yeah, I don't think man, I don't know how much you'd have to pay me. I know tarantulas. I know that in my okay, says okay, you had me at spider feet. Yeah. Oh, look at that. It almost looks cute. Oh, look at that spider paws. Okay, some of them seem almost, you could almost mistake them for a cat or something if you didn't, if you only looked at a certain way. That guy looks, what is going on with him? No, thank you. Let's see, Neon glitches stuff I never need to know before playing D&D. Like, I learned that from D&D, spiders don't make sounds, but large ones will run their mandibles together. That sounds like hissing. Ew. Oh, even they don't have calls. I mean, they can make sounds on the ground. I see what you're saying. They don't have a call. Yeah. So some of them have soft paws. Some of them have more claws. I'm gonna say maybe these are more claw-like. Man. The wide trail runs northwest southwest. The tracks tracks found in and beside the trail are strange and confused, being made by the clawed arachnid paws of the spider cat. Okay. Old Ungoliant. Yeah. Ugh. All right. So the spider trail is really, it's not meant, it's there's no mystery. You're gonna see it. It's gonna be pretty wide. It's gonna be going, but the tracks along it are gonna be weird. And then use the GM if you want to play up the fact that it's kind of weird marks that don't equate to, oh look, it's a deer, or oh look, it's a bobcat or something. No, these are something else. And if you haven't seen the spider kin yet, you might be like, I don't know. And then confused being that they're going both directions, and there are along these trails where they will often the will have collisions where they'll fight. So it's all going to be confused tracks, but the trail won't be hard. Really, it's not really hard to find or hard to follow. But you your spider sense may tell you, let's not do that, shall we? So let's put a secret spot in here. So let's see what we get for secrets. Okay, well, we'll roll an alignment. 6. Ooh, a lawful spot. Look at this. Wow. Law. What is it? What is it? 2, it's another crevasse. I don't want another crevasse. Let's get something else. 3, an open glade. All right. No, I want something else. I'm gonna do a pond. I'm gonna pick a pond. Sometimes you gotta do that. Sometimes I don't want to. I want a little bit of variety of stuff. It's got fauna this time. Okay, so we got a pond with some fauna. And then, so what kind of fauna do we have here? 1, small game. Small game. And what is the alignment feature, if any? 3, it's verdant. So it's just, yeah. Essentially, verdant is it's good for supply. So if you're trying to resupply, and I'll write these up. I don't have it written up right now, but basically verdant would mean that it's a good spot to supply. Like that's a good spot to know if you want to, if you need stuff. So maybe I'll just say there's a fishing, that there's, or I guess I'll just say this is, I don't know. Let's call it Quiet Pond. Lawful. Yeah, lawful secret. It's verdant. I need to know that. Like that 4. Yep. Clear, cool pond. Sits at the bottom of a shallow dell. Game animals often come here to drink. And I'll add something, Oh yeah, if you hunt here, whatever. +1 to whatever trapping or hunting if you're here. So good. Good, good, good. Can't believe I drank all my soda. All right, let's do one more. And then we'll call it. So we got the camel spiders. We got the lair. I'm going to say that's a secret. No, actually, well, maybe not. No. Doesn't really seem like that would be. It would be a feature. Or it might even be the landmark for that. I'm going to make it the landmark. That is the thing you're going to know. But where we can decide where it is. So where is it? Dense thicket. Okay. A cloud of webs obscures a dense thicket of woody brush. Brush. I don't know, some number 4d6. I don't know, I'll put some figure out. I'll figure that out. These spider can are. What is that? Okay. These spider can are at war. I remember I started off having these two different spiders, camel spiders and kind of crab spiders, but I'm gonna make them spiderkin. I'm not sure what that means yet, but that's what it is. Trail leads from here. Okay, there we go. Wonder where the spider trail. Oh, it doesn't really matter. See, I could actually. It'd be interesting because I might actually connect the pond and the crevasse and kind of put it like one inside the other. So that's not something that I talked about when I went over that, but I want to be able to nest them and do interesting things and not necessarily have it. If you follow the crevasse up, then there's a pool back there. Kind of cool. It makes it kind of a nice thing. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, folks, for hanging out. Got some good stuff here. One of the reasons why I'm generating these, I guess, just to wrap up, is I want to be able to use these. I want to be able to use these to kind of plot trails and rumors and things like that, because now I can rumor, oh yeah, the were rats, they're somewhere near this nasty flowers or something, or like you find the flasty flowers, and then or you find this ditch, and then through that tumble, whatever you can get there, kind of these things, so that you can start to create that kind of web of stuff where I don't have to just say, oh, it's east. I can say, oh no, whatever. Not that you can't give directions. Of course you can give directions, but that you can be, in a sense, you can lay on top of your hex map almost a point crawl, really, of how do you get to a place, how do you get to the were rat lair. All right, find the glade of the foul flowers, but don't go in. Once you're there, you're gonna have to look around and find this ditch filled with this nasty brush. Once you found that, you got to figure your way through. If you find the right way through, it'll lead you to the were rat lair. So that part you can go, great. The first step is, they said that, for example, in this case, right, they say that, this is up here. Let's say we're here. It's like, okay, we got to head due west, so to speak. All right. Right. And maybe even say something like, hey, man, there's a trail here. You want to pass that trail as fast as possible because there are 8-legged horrors or whatever that are running around there. So get by there. But hey, if you can find this other spot, it's good to camp, right? We can start to lay out all this kind of stories, and the stories are there, right? They're there, and they've got mechanics, in fact, that we could talk about. Well, maybe the party's trying to find them, then that gives them a leg up on finding them, but they can also find them randomly. And now we can layer that all together. So instead of just saying, oh, we're going to 00.000 or whatnot, and whatever, if you're sharing out the hex map, you can still do that. But okay, we need to find that glade. We know ultimately we're looking for this icon here. So first we're going to find the glade. Now we found the glade, and then do shenanigans happen because we go into it or not, whatever. But now it's like, okay, but now step 2. We got to try to find that ditch. And maybe we need to find a place to camp, and maybe we find that thing, right? That's kind of what I want to do. So I want to be able to weave in all these things in here and be able to reference these locations within hexes. And maybe the person who's giving the directions doesn't know that it's exactly in this hex, but they know it's in this direction. And then also gives them a frame of reference that maybe they run into some kind of wandering guy over here. Oh, I'm a hermit. I know where that glade is, right? Boom. You have this kind of point of reference. Reminds me of those old maps like the, I wonder if let me go back here for a second. Trigger warning. All right, let me see if there's this old Dutchman mine map. I think it's the old Dutchman mine map, right? Lost Dutchman, not old Dutchman. Yeah. Whoops, why did I put lost? Well, I'm just gonna show this really quick. I think this is a pretty good. Does this have a? No. I mean, this does kind of illustrate it too, where they're pointing out things like, hey, this is this kind of canyon, then you got to find certain trails. You got to find, what is it? The high peaks. No, there's one where I swear there's even one that's basically like find the rock that looks like somebody's face. Or here, this kind of symbology and things, but this is just a fragment. There's there a good one? No. I thought this was a good one, but maybe the map, I don't have the right map. Is this the map? Anyway, I want to be able to, the players, I want to be able them to kind of create almost mind maps saying, find this thing, find here, find there. Let's write this down. Okay, this glade's really awesome. Let's do that. Or let's say we should never go back to that glade again. I want to be able them to kind of map those things either on top of, if they have a hex map, or completely kind of separate, their own kind of mind map, and do that. So that's kind of why I like it. Hey, T-Ball, you like the Curse Plus table? Great. Well, like I said, these will be released together. Well, it's one and the same thing. So whenever I'm done with this and gets released, this stuff will be with it. So you'll be able to grab it and use it to kind of regenerate stuff to fill and refill this area, or of course use it for your own stuff. Thanks so much, everyone, for hanging out. If you're watching or listening to this now, have a great rest of your Friday, and then have a great and awesome weekend. If not, have a great rest of whenever you end up watching or listening to this. Game on, everybody. Talk to you later.